Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, stopping by for the first time, welcome and I hope you stick around. Today I'm going to make milk and cookies for Santa, and I'm going to be using a tray that I got from the thrift store. I only paid 50 cents for it. If you want to remake this, you can find any tray or make a tray. Well, let's get started. In the Dollar Tree, I picked up 3 glass bottles with the straws inside, this over-the-door hook, these wooden die cuts from Crafter's Square section, and the chalkboard tags, and these chalkboard tags, it has the clothespin attached, but I took the clothespin off, these bells, some hot glue, and a variety of paints. And if you want to remake this, you can pick whatever paints you want to use to decorate your cookies. I picked up this rectangle tray and some caulk. And from the thrift store, again, this tray. And from Dollar General, I picked up these fabric bags. There were 2 for $1. And from Walmart, my puffy paint. So to get started, I wanted the cookies to look like they had real frosting on them. So I'm going to use some caulk and I'm going to mix that with some paints. And that's going to be the base for my cookies. And then I'm going to use the puffy paints to really get in there and, do the detailing. So here I am just, separating, like you would with your frosting, and you start with your white and you add food coloring, right? So I'm just going to add paint to mine. And I really wish I had some regular red paint, because the paint from the Dollar Tree, it took so much paint to add to the caulking that it just made so much, and I made way too much red paint or frosting for my cookies. But anyway, so here I'm just mixing, my red, a lot of red, like I said, and I'm going to use that for my truck, and I'm going to use that for my stocking. And I wasn't going for perfect, but I was going, I wanted it to look good, but I did want it to have that messy kind of frosting look. So I'm not being real careful or smooth with the paint. Then I take a butter knife to stick inside, the little design, the cutout designs in the wooden die cuts. And I found that just rubbing the back with a wet cloth kind of took out the paint inside the little, holes or designs that are cut into the little wood pieces. And here I'm applying the paint to the stocking, and then I'm going to let that dry and move on to the bell. And for the bell, as you can see, I made way less mixture of paint and caulking for this, and I used the color Ocean for this. I love that color. And then I'll use some black puffy paint for the actual bell part and the little top of my bell. Again, not looking for anything perfect, because I want them to look like real frosted sugar cookies. And this was the hardest of them all to apply the caulking to. It just had so many cuts and detail in it that it took me a while to get the hang of it. So I was just, applying and trying to stick the knife, and I even got a paintbrush at one point, just trying to get the caulking out of those little crevices. So again, just taking a paintbrush, I just found that after a while that it's easier to go from behind and stick my paintbrush through the back, and it helped a lot. And then I stuck my fingers in some water to smooth it out, to make it look more like frosting. And for the other snowflake, I use that same ocean blue that I used for the bell. Isn't that a beautiful blue color? Blue is my favorite color, so of course I'm going to love that color. And then once the paint was dry, well, almost dry, I got a little impatient. I took the puffy paint and I did the detail work on each of the little die cuts. I was going to paint a white rim on the white truck and decided it didn't look so good. So I did end up just using the red puffy paint because I already rinsed out my bowl that had the red paint in it. So it worked out okay. It gave it a little dimension. I had to make a red truck Christmas tree, and I hope somebody or one of these stores carries the red truck cookie cutter, because That would be awesome to make a red truck sugar cookie, or a white truck, or a blue truck, or a green truck. And for the fur, I just used the caulking just with no color in it. And then I smoothed it out with some water. And for the bell, I thought it was a little plain, so I was going to embellish it with these stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree, and it's the holly, but they were too big, so I decided to use the puffy paint and wing it, and that's exactly what I did, wing it. And it didn't come out so good at first, but I think I saved it. And now for the milk bottles, I'm going to make regular milk, chocolate milk, and peppermint milk. So for the regular milk, I'm just going to squeeze the caulking right into the jar, just like that. And I did use a screwdriver to push down. This is the tube, that you would actually put inside of one of those little squeezers. But I didn't want to get the squeezer out. I got a little lazy, so I just used what I had on hand. And I just squeezed some in there, and then you just want to tap down on your bottle and try to get as much bubbles out as you can. And it did take a little more than two. The second one that I used actually broke, so I did have some trouble with that one for the chocolate milk. So I decided to go a different route for the chocolate milk. I was going to do all three with the caulking, which I'm glad I didn't, because it would have been awfully heavy. So, another happy mistake. And you'll want to stick your straw in and get it as straight as you want it. You can tilt it, you can make it go straight up, however you would like it, but it is going to dry that way. So I tried it on for size and put it in the rack, and now I'm going to move on to the chocolate. And here is where I ended up using a little bit of water and some truffle paint, and just mixed it really well and poured it in the jar and just swirled it around. And that worked perfect. And so I went all the way to the top with the chocolate and the peppermint, because you would be able to see through the bottle if I would have only gone, a little, left a little of the glass showing like I did for the regular milk. So I made sure to go all the way to the top. That way you can't tell that, it's hollow. And for the peppermint milk, I searched high and low for my red glitter, could not find it. It's probably sitting right in front of me. Who knows? But anyway, I took some Mod Podge and a little bit of water, poured the little specks of red into the jar, and what I did is just cut up little pieces of some red glitter floral that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I just swirled it around and then poured out the excess Mod Podge water mixture. And then while it was drying, I just made sure to flip it around every now and then. That way I was sure to get specks on all four sides of the jar. I thought my camera was rolling, but it wasn't. But I wrote my words with a silver marker, and I wrote reindeer feed on one, cookies to go for Santa on the other. And then for the milk, I wrote cocoa milk, milk, and peppermint milk. And on the little tags for the milk jars, I did pry off the clothespins, and I just took my butter knife and just pried it off. And it did crack in the back, but you won't see that, so that was okay. And here I am stringing my bells. And initially I wanted to use a bow with two bells on each side hanging down, but it didn't look good, so I just ended up pulling all four bells down to one side and tying a knot around the sacks, and you'll see that in a second. So to fill up my sacks, I used some Epsom salt, and this was lavender and honey. So it smelled good too and served as a little potpourri. So the reason I'm using some Epsom salt is because initially I was going to use just some tissue paper and just wad it up and stick it in there, but it needed some weight. So I poured the Epsom salt in first and then added in some tissue paper. And I cinched up the sacks and tied it in a cute little bow in the front. And then I added my tags, and the strings on the tags were a little too long, so I ended up cutting it off and making them shorter. And then I added the bells to the sides. This would be a great DIY to do with your kiddos too. You could let them decorate one of the sugar cookies, and put their name on the back, and for years to come, break it out at Christmas time. And it's just a fun, nostalgic little, thing to do on, the holiday season. And it's just a great memory to do with the kiddos. Once the Mod Podge was dry or almost dry on the peppermint milk bottle, I poured some white chalk paint and a little bit of water, shook it up real good, and rolled it around and got all the paint inside the bottle. And then I stuck my straw back in. Well, I did that first, of course. Then taking some hot glue, I glued each of the tags to the milk jars. The cocoa first, then the milk, and then the peppermint milk. And I stuck my bottles inside the rack. That way I can get the, tags to be semi-even. And please don't glue your finger like I just did. Then I gave the tray a little wipe down and took off my thrift store tag on the back there. And then I just started arranging the items where I wanted them to go on my tray. And this was another one of those fun DIYs for me. My DIYs are fun. I really enjoy, making things and whatnot. But I think it's Christmas time. It's just so much fun. And I think it's like that for a lot of people. So again, this is a really fun DIY to do. So, and if you can, do it with the kids. Let them make a cookie, and you'll have this for years to come. And right now a lot of kids are not in school, so they're not doing any crafts like this. So you could do it at home. It would be a lot of fun. So anyway, I'm arranging my cookies, and I felt like they were just too flat on this tray. So I got out my Jenga blocks and my little wood block, square blocks, and I just raised them up so I could kind of sit them at an angle. I know you can't really see it on film, but that's what I did. And then this project was done. And here it is, all done, sitting on my little vignette I have going on. And I just think it's so cute and whimsical and fun for the grandkids when they come over. So I hope you all liked my video today, and if you did, can you give me a big thumbs up? And if you're new here, again, welcome, and I hope you like my video and would consider subscribing to my channel. And hit that notification bell, that way you'll be notified every time I do upload a new video. And again, thank you everybody for your support, watching my videos. I really enjoy it. You all take care out there. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.